Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harris and I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today, I'm going to be talking about the latest chapter of The Wandering Inn, which I think was 13. So I listened to the audio on this one when I went out for a walk. It's a lovely walk, by the way. Lovely walk. Just walked all the way along the river, and that is near my house, up to the seafront and back down. I'm trying to get a bit more exercise in my life, and I feel like a great starting place for pretty much anyone. And this is one of the ways that when I actually got fit enough to run an ultra marathon a couple of years ago, I started out with just long walks. So I would start out with doing 1 to 2 hour walks, and then I just kept doing that and doing that and doing that, and then I started running, and then I went into running with already kind of a lot of time on my legs and stuff. So if you are like me or like I was, and I kind of am now, completely out of shape, just go for a walk. Listen to the Wandering Inn audiobook maybe, because that's what I did. So this week's chapter is all about burgers. So it's quite funny. I enjoyed this chapter. It was really not so the weather outside was that exact combination of sunny but cold, get your sunglasses out but wear a comfy jumper, which is basically the perfect walking weather. So I had a fantastic time, and the chapter genuinely helped with that. I really enjoyed reading it. So the chapter opens with Erin missing Torrin, and same, I miss Torrin. She left out some signposts so that he would find the new inn, which I thought was really funny. Then we go into the market. So Erin goes to Liscor, which is now very close, which is fun, and she sets up a little market stall and starts selling burgers. So basically the way that she goes about it is she sells a burger, and then to Kershia, and Kershia is this is delicious. And she's right, I've got a trend on my hands, so I'm going to start selling the burgers. And then she's instantly overwhelmed because so many people want to buy these burgers, because nobody's ever had a burger before. And I feel if you'd never had a burger and you had a burger, you'd be damn, good idea. Perfectly, eatable size of meat. If you like meat, I don't eat meat. So I enjoyed the whole burger section. I love when Celis turns up and is raise the prices, I'll take the money, you do the cooking. And Erin pointing out that her basic cooking skill means that she doesn't actually have to pay attention. Lots of fun, enjoyed that. So yeah, Erin is completely overwhelmed with the burger stuff. Well, not overwhelmed, she actually kind of chills out when Celis helps out, but she's just got the most popular stand, and nobody is selling any other food. Everyone wants burgers because they're the new thing, they're the new hotness. They're the cruffin of the Wandering Inn world. If you don't know what a cruffin is, just Google it. It's a croissant muffin. So we then meet Hawk. I don't know if there's any relation to Hawk Tuah. That joke's going to really date this video. So if you're watching this video in 2027, Hawk Tuah was a very big thing currently a couple of months ago actually. Anyway, so Hawk turns up, and he is a bunny man. So he's a rabbit. He's referred to as a beastkin. So I don't know, and a long-eared beastkin. So what I guess that means is that there's loads of animal human hybrids that are not as populous as Drake's Gnolls, because I feel otherwise you would be well, Gnoll's a beastkin, Drake's a beastkin, so the beastkin that are rabbit people must be a smaller number. And it's quite funny because I read a book where a major character was a rabbit person earlier this year, called Infinity Gate by M.R. Carey. Really, really good sci-fi book. If you like The Wandering Inn, I would imagine that you would also enjoy Infinity Gate. So If you haven't watched my review for that, you should do. I'm not going to link it down below because I will forget to do that. Or I'm not going to say I'm going to link it down below because I'll forget. But if you, because I'm recording this review before I start work, and then I'll edit it at lunchtime. So, you know, if you want to watch it, just search Infinity Gate Sam Harrison. You'll find it. Very easy to find. Anyway, so yeah, I really enjoyed Hawk. Conceptually as a character, I thought that like him being kind of part of the gang seems, sorry, I just knocked something over. Him being part of the gang sounds like a lot of fun. And also he's a courier, so that gives us a bit more information about couriers, what they do, and a bit more into the insight of like the runners. And obviously, like, he's jacked. Like, that's one of the things that Erin notices about him, is that he's like hot and jacked. So I wonder if there's going to be a Erin Hawk romance in the future. She seemed to be interested because she loves bunny rabbits and she likes how jacked this dude is. He also, Andrea Parsino, talked really quickly when she talked as Hawk, which I thought was quite funny. And couriers obviously are quite high level. Are couriers like the level below named runners, I feel like, because you've got the like city runners, then you've got just like street runners, city runners, then couriers, which are like the highest level that I think we've heard of. Somebody will tell me in the comments. Every time I get something wrong, somebody puts in the comments, actually it's this, and I do appreciate that most of the time. This time, yes, I appreciate it. So yeah, I think that the stuff going on, like learning more about the couriers, will be interesting. I like the Runners Guild kind of as a whole, as an idea, and I would like to learn more about it. The one thing that I've noticed with The Wandering Inn, this is a bit of a tangent, is that we're kind of focused on a couple of things. So like, we know loads about adventurers and we know loads about runners, but there must be like hundreds of guilds and we don't know that much more about other stuff. I would like to get a bit more diversity in the type of story being told. So I feel like pretty much the story being told is either like a cozy chapter or an action chapter. This one has a little bit of action towards the end. And it's quite interesting because the chapter flew by. I didn't realise it was over until it ended. I thought I still had like another half an hour left. So we've got, there's like the cozy chapters where it's like, oh, we're learning this about cooking, we're doing some character development, we're learning this about, you know, running an inn. Or we've got the like action chapters, which are like, oh, Ryoka's, you know, taking potions to these adventurers, or we're going down in the ruins, or we're fighting Skinner, or whatever. And I feel like what I would like is a bit more diversity of storytelling. So if you like read a Dresden Files book, for example, like every few chapters, there's like there's like an action sequence followed by like some politicking, followed by some like fun investigation stuff. I feel like with The Wandering Inn, we often get like 5 chapters in a row that are just like, this is all cozy stuff, and that, you know, it is not bad. I would just like more diversity. I think going back in time for Pirate Arbor's writing skill. So Volume 1 obviously was written the rewrite of Volume 1 that I read was written fairly recently, but this Volume 2 was written like 7 years ago or something. So the quality of their writing has stepped up, yeah, for the rewrite. So it feels like kind of taking a backward step to Volume 2. And I think a lot of people talked on last week's video about how I was feeling a bit burnt out. And I don't know whether I'm feeling burnt out. I feel like the backward step that I've taken in quality is quite noticeable. So I feel like I said book 1 was like a 4-star that I really enjoyed, but book 2 is so far a 3-star book. So I would really like to see... I'm going to continue to read, as I've said before, and I actually have decided that I'm going to continue doing the weekly chapter episodes as long as I feel like they're fun. I'm still enjoying the book and I'm still enjoying making the content, so you know, I'm going to continue to do so. my original thought process, and I did talk to a few people in the comments of last week's video, I was just saying that, like, actually, maybe the best method is for me to get to a stopping point in book 2 or volume 2, and then be like, right, from here, I'm going to just binge read. And maybe, but the actual thing that I could do, and this is what I thought was actually a secret, fantastic idea, was I could binge read like 10 chapters at a time, film all the videos, so film like 2 or 3 chapters per video, and then put those up weekly. So that's something that I am considering. Obviously, there's a lot of time investment in that, whereas at the moment, doing the Wandering In video each week takes me about an hour to like read the ebook. Usually the ebook is a lot quicker for me to read. So read, then film, then edit. So, you know, there are downsides to bulk filming, because then I'll have to like stop, film, read, stop, film, you know, because I'm not going to read like 10 chapters and then try and remember the first one. That would mean that first few chapters would get quite bad videos, I think. I do sometimes have a bit of time to do batch filming, and I think that I'm going to make batch filming more of a priority going forwards to give me more reading time in the evenings, which is where I often am filming videos, is either lunchtimes or evenings. But yeah, I'd like to have a bit more time in the evenings. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process. I think that for now, this way is working for me, but I think maybe fairly soon I will switch over to a batch filming. So you guys will be like, wait, he's wearing the same hoodie in all 6 Wandering In videos that he's put up for the last month and a half. And that's because I'll be batch filming it. So I do hope that works out for you guys as well as I think it will for me. Basically, I will probably just be taking like an afternoon off work once every couple of months and filming a load of Wandering In stuff, or filming like 2 or 3 episodes in an evening, something like that. I think that's going to work. Then that enables me to continue to read this chapter by chapter in kind of terms of the output for the fans and the people who enjoy watching the chapter breakdowns, and also lets me do more chapters a week, which I know people really want, and also lets me binge read a bit, which I prefer to do. I'm more of a binge reader, I think, although Wandering In is more episodic than anything else I read, so because it's written episodically. Anyway, so we have an interesting thing here where Erin still sleeps in the kitchen in her new inn, which is very funny, but Cheeria in her sleep starts doing some magic, which is pretty exciting. So she shouldn't be able to do the ice spike spell, but she casts it at Erin and almost kills her in her sleep because she's having a nightmare. And Erin also sees her move her skeletal hand. So I'm genuinely super excited to see what's going on with that. I think that the visual of the skeletal hand is very cool. And right after that happens, Olezem turns up and is like, you're naked. And Cheeria's like, you've seen me actually naked. I'm still wearing my underwear, which I thought was quite funny. And like, it kind of makes sense that different races would have different like ideas around nudity and things like that, because that happens in the real world. Like, there are nudist beaches in France and stuff, where like, not nudist beach, like topless sunbathing beaches in France, whereas in America, like, that people would be like, oh my god, boobs. I wonder if this video is going to get demonetized because I mentioned boobs. Anyway, so that is a really cool development lore-wise. So I feel like this chapter has revitalized my enjoyment a little bit in the Wandering In, because the last few I was kind of like, well, this is good, but not as good as I remember it used to be. Maybe it's also rose-tinted spectacles for the old rewrite chapters. but I'm going like, oh, it's not as good as it used to be, and then like, oh, this is okay. And then this week's one was a lot of fun. Possibly also the environment I listened to it in while I was out for a nice walk. Maybe that helped. So I guess we'll find out when I read next week's chapters. So hopefully the new system where I will be listening to, like I said, trying to listen to or read multiple chapters for each video, once I'm able to carve out some time to do some filming for those chapters, then that'll be something that I'm going to carry on doing. Somebody mentioned on, I don't know if it was last week's video or another one, but that if I read at the pace that I'm going at, it'll take me 12 years to catch up to where Pirate Arbor is now, not where they'll be in 12 years time. So there is a part of me, you know, like I would actually really like to get up to date. I am a bit disappointed that the ebooks are not up to date. Like the ebooks are like a couple of volumes behind, because I have to say that is my preferred, like my number one method is the ebook. The audiobook is the backup for when I'm out and about, and the website is obviously my last choice. And I really enjoy reading the ebooks, and that's kind of a demotivator to getting up to date, because I did have a thought where I was like, actually I could read one of these 1,000-page books every month without any issues, because I often will read a Wheel of Time book that'll be like 1,000 pages. So I'm like, well, actually, I could just do that. But the problem that I've got there is that even if I do read, you know, if I read all the ebooks that are out in like a year and a half, I will be like on, you know, website volume, not book volume, website volume like 7, and that's disappointing. I know that it's all about audiobook, so the ebooks come out when the audiobooks are ready, because the ebooks are all done, aren't they? Because they're all on the website already. So I know that that's part of it. However, slightly disappointing, and you know, I'm allowed to be disappointed on things that maybe it's not fair to Pirate Arbor for me to be disappointed in. However, still enjoying the series, looking forward to more chapters. I finished this one and I was like, ooh, I could go for a few more chapters. Because there's a good cliffhanger as well, where Olism turns up at the end and he's like, oh, Skinner's just the lesser guardian of the ruins, so which means there's something even nastier around. However, yeah, I enjoyed, looking forward to reading the next one. And unfortunately, I'm a bit behind on my reading of my actual book, which is Return to Edan. I've passed the halfway point in this book. However, I really could do with reading a lot more. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna have a bit more time to read, I should read Return to Edan. Also, my favourite podcast came out yesterday. I haven't even listened to it. So, all of that to say, The Wandering Inn is great, and I will see you guys next week when we can talk more about it. Please like the video if you liked it, comment down below if you have something you want to tell me, and of course, subscribe to tell me that these videos are worth your while and that I should keep making them. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week.